Hey folks, so we're going to be planting some bulbs today. Some of these are new to me, which is always fun. I'll be planting Babianas today. This is Babiana, used to be called stricta, but now it's called Babiana nervosa. And I had just gone to Wave Hill, which is in New York City, and we did a tour there. I'll link to it. It was on our sister channel, Plant One On Me. And I was like, wait, what are these? These are pretty cool. They look like little freesias, and they're related to them, I believe. And they're called baboon flower. So Babiana, the scientific name, is actually kind of a version of the Afrikaans name for baboon, which Afrikaans is related to Dutch. So I don't know what baboon is in Dutch, but maybe close to that. So Babiana, very pretty flowers. I have a bunch of cultivars here. They're probably based off a different species as well. So they come in a range of colors, usually like soft purples, deeper purples, whites, pinks. I'm going to be planting them up in containers, and that's why I brought up Wave Hill, because Wave Hill had a number of beautiful South African, New Zealand, Australian bulbs planted up in containers in their palm house, and it was just a phenomenal presentation, so beautiful. And these do not happen to be hardy to our zone. So if you're in like a zone maybe 8 to 10, you could keep these in the ground and they'll come back. But for somebody in 5, 6 like we are, they're not going to come back. You're going to have to lift them. And if I put them in the landscape, I'm going to forget them. So I'm going to plant them in pots, and I've wanted to do that anyway because, like I said, the Wave Hill pots, they look so charming. And my vision for this Meadow house area is to have a bit more of a cottagey feel, and you could achieve that cottagey feel not only within the garden, but also by using pots and putting them into different places, yes, on your patio or on your porch. But I happened to get a very cool, kind of looks like a little tea cart. It's an iron tea cart. I'll show it to you after I finish planting these, but I picked that up at auction. I got this table at auction. So I'm just like really using all my auction finds. So planting these, it's fairly easy. So in the ground, it says plant them 10 to 12 inches apart. But in a pot, because I'm going to be lifting them and they're not going to perennialize, I'm going to plant them a little bit closer to one another. It suggests like 4 inches under. If I was planting these bulbs like we planted the bulbs in the lawn, typically you'd only have to go double to a little over the length of the bulb or the corm that you're actually planting. So I have a fairly dry mix here. So I just had some of the regular potting medium with quite a bit of this perlite. So this is like this puffed volcanic stone here. And it's largely because these grow in fairly dry locations. So I'm just going to actually put them around just like this and make a nice little section. And they come up, like I said, they have purples and whites and pinks and all very beautiful shades. I won't completely overdo it here. I have a tendency to overplant in both the landscape and in pots, but I'm going to keep it here to 7 of them. And I'll just cover it up. And I guarantee, even though these are going to be lifted off the ground, I very much guarantee that our chipmunk is going to be planting in these. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the leaves. They're kind of strap-like. They kind of remind me a bit more like a plantain. They have the lateral veins and a slightly hairy leaf, and they don't grow that tall. So maybe at most like a foot tall for the flower spike, but typically like anywhere between 9 and 12 inches. So I think that would be really nice for a pot. And these should start blooming in late spring and early summer. So I will have kind of bare pots for a little while, but that's just what you get with bulbs. I did plant some bulbs in a planter over there with some of the perennial plants so that sometimes the bulbs will come up a little bit earlier in the season if you plant the bulbs in fall and they come up in spring, and you could probably time it pretty well. But for this part, I'm just actually going to bury them in here like that. And I'll just like slightly water them in. But for the most part, this is going to rely on the precipitation that we get. And I didn't want them sitting in too heavy of a potting medium, because if it does tend to rain quite a bit around here, especially in the spring. And I don't want them sitting in kind of like a wet diaper, as I like to say. So the next ones I'm going to plant is also something that's a little bit newer to me. This is called a Peruvian daffodil. So this cultivar is called Sulphur Queen. And they call it a Peruvian daffodil not because it is a daffodil. It looks very similar to a daffodil, but it's related a bit more to like the spider lily. So you might know the spider lily. It's actually native to the United States. And so it has this spidery yellow bloom, and actually it is in the same genus, Hymenicalis, as the spider lily. So you want to plant them with their necks up. So this will be a good 4 to 5 inches down, and you're just going to have this kind of stick up above the soil. So I'm going to add a bit more of potting medium here. And I also have this as a pretty dry mix. There's way too many here to plant in a pot. So this one suggests 5 to 6 inches deep and 8 to 10 inches apart. So I'm going to go with 3 in here. But in the landscape, I would like to plant these, and I often like to plant things in a couple different places. It might be in 2 different gardens with 2 different conditions, or I might plant them in pots and then also in the garden. And it's really great to just have an observation of like when the ones in the pot come up. Do they come up sooner rather than later? I had a lot of bulbs actually planted in the Meadow House raised planter, which is where I'm going to be planting up the rest of the babianas. And it was very interesting to see that the bulbs came up earlier than all the other bulbs in the landscape. So, and I don't know if it was the direct eastern sun, if it was the fact that it was like raised off the ground, that it was near the house. There's all different factors that come into play. Let me just bury these. Like I said, you want to get these like little necks sticking up here, just like that. And I think what I'm going to do is just plant 1 in this planter. I think that's all it's going to take, because these do get quite wide and quite tall too. So this one will get anywhere between 18 and 24 inches. And these are related to the amaryllis. They're in the amaryllis family. So you'll want to treat them very similar to an amaryllis. So the leaves are the flower spike is going to die back. You cut the flower spike off, and then the green leaves will remain. You want to keep those green leaves all the way up until they start to turn yellow and basically fall off themselves, because that green leaf is going to collect all of the food that it needs in order to get it through to the next stage of regrowth. And then so you'll want to take the bulb out, or just, put this pot aside and have a temperature of like anywhere between 40 and I would say 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And so if you have it like in your garage or in your basement, or maybe in a cool greenhouse or whatnot, then you'll be able to have this for next year essentially and plant it out. I'm excited for these because I typically like to plant bulbs in the fall, because I really enjoy some of those spring blooming bulbs. So these ones that kind of bloom a bit more closer to the summer, a lot of these are relatively new for me. Oh, and then I have these. Now I've planted dahlias before, and let me just explain. This is kind of like a tuberous plant. They remind me a little bit of, they remind me a little bit of potatoes, but they remind me a little bit more also of asparagus, like how asparagus comes with a crown, and you have like the necks of the plant, and then you have these little eyes. And I'd plant them very similarly to asparagus. So you could actually clip here. You see that this section has eyes over here, and then this section has eyes. So if you wanted to clip here and get 2 clumps, you can. Or you could just plant this as 1 clump, which is what I'm basically going to do today. So this is a new cultivar. The amazing thing about dahlias is that there's so many different cultivated varieties. There's so much variation between those cultivars, and you get these big blooms that are like 10 inches across, and you get like double flowers, and you get all this weird geometry when it comes to the blooms of dahlias. I'm sorry, I'm only showing you this like these drab tubers. The thing with that is I tend to go for the single flowers. So this one is called white dahlia. That's all it's called, and it's a single flower. And part of the reason for that is even though this is not a native flower, I would like for it to have a pollen source. And single flowers will have a pollen source for pollinators. Once you start getting into the double flowers and kind of the weird morphology as it relates to the flower, those resources are gone. So the plant, instead of having a place where there's pollen, will put more of its focus on petals, and then there'll be no more pollen source. So that's why I don't get a lot of double flowers and they're maybe a little less exciting, but I just don't get a lot of double flowers in my own garden. So I'm gonna plant these right behind here in a clump. Oh, I wanted to show you this one because this one doesn't have an eye. It probably broke off of one of these crowns. So this may not grow, but I'm gonna plant it anyway. So, because why not? So these get about 2 feet high, and I benefit from the fact that like this garden is still expanding. Like the spirobolus, the grasses that I planted in here, there's still quite a lot of space. And these are also not winter hardy here. So I would have to pull these up, but you know what? They're not that expensive. So if I had to, and they're not that precious to me either. So if I don't lift them up next year and they don't come up, then I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk. One thing I will say about these, that even though they may seem a little less spectacular for the fact that they just have a single white bloom and you're like, boring, you know, there's so many cool like dahlias out there. What this does have is a very dark black, purplish black leaf. So I thought that looked pretty cool. So for the fact that it may not make up what it has in a flower, for some people who expect like really crazy dahlias, this one will make its way up, and the fact that that has that nice creamy white bloom with that black purple leaf. So here it is, I have like a little eye, and I'm just gonna kind of spread these out, kind of plant them a little bit to the side. They only need to be about 2 inches deep, but dahlias have a tendency to get pretty wide. So you're gonna wanna plant them somewhere between 18 inches and 24 inches away so they could really spread. So the eyes are right here, so I'm gonna plant those eyes up. But deer will eat dahlias as well. So if you have a deer issue, then I would recommend trying to cordon off your garden from them. It's like putting it to bed. I might plant this one in with this because I doubt that is going to bloom. Let's get these in the Meadow House planter because I had such a good turnout for the bulbs in the Meadow House planter. And these are gonna be new for me. I mean, I guarantee some of these are gonna be dug up by our chipmunk, but that's okay. I'm planting a sufficient amount so that if the chipmunk knocks out a few, it's not a big deal. And this should actually work with the color that I have in here too, because a lot of these are purples and whites. And you can see some of the erythroniums right now are up. So this is another bulb that we have here. Technically, these aren't bulbs, these are corms, just a morphological difference, but for the most part, people just call them bulbs. Yeah, I wanted to have something blooming in this planter all season long. That seems to be achieved right now with a lot of these early spring bulbs. A lot of the perennial plants I won't see blooming until summer and then into fall. So bulbs really give an opportunity to bloom at off times when you normally wouldn't have a lot of things blooming. This was an aranthus, so this was a really early spring bulb. So those came up in February, believe it or not, on some of those really nice warm days that we had. The other thing I like about bulbs is they don't seem to compete with the other perennials that we have in here. So even like the daffodils that we have perennialized around the landscape, and even in some of the gardens, I wish I could take them out of some of the gardens, but daffodils, they really, you know, bury themselves. The bulbs really tend to bury themselves pretty deep. So it's hard to get them up if you don't want them in a garden. But once they bloom and you cut off their leaves, something else could kind of grow right above them. Just have a few more of these. Look, should I throw one down the chipmunk hole? I might as well. He'll have some gifts down there. and be like, what's that? And I found out that it really doesn't matter what direction you're planting your bulbs. You could help them a little bit, but after doing the 80,000 bulb lawn, we just kind of toss them in any old direction and they seem to find their way. This should be pretty cool. I'd really like to see if these come up. These will come up in late spring and early summer. So after erythroniums are done, something else will probably be blooming around that time as well. So hopefully they don't clash with what's ever blooming. But yeah, that's it. Super simple. Always great to explore some new bulbs, spring, summer, fall. There's so many to choose from, but those are going to be 3 new cultivated varieties for me as well. So see you in the next episode. Now that spring is here, we'll be working quite a bit on garden projects at Flock. You can get notified when new videos release by subscribing and clicking the bell icon. And thank you all to our Flock members out there. Now, if you want to know more about that, you could click on the join button on our home screen here on YouTube. And we'll see you in the next video.